Do you think I want to be babysitting you? No, I was praying your mother would pick up the phone or your father would arrive in a helicopter or a flying saucer.
My father's dead.
Hey there, welcome. This evening we're going ahead and doing another movie review, Ruben. And Ruben, this film that we're going to review today, or you and I are going to talk about, is the title of this film is Holdovers. And this film just came out. And it stars Paul Giamatti and a couple other actors, which I'll mention in a moment. But Paul Giamatti is one of my favorites, okay? This director, Alexander Payne, has directed Giamatti before in a film called Sideways, which I really loved. And this film takes you back to 1970, and it takes you right away. I know, Ruben, you remember going to see movies with Dad, and just even the way it looked, the picture, the credits, right? The opening sequences. It just felt like it was made in 1970, and that's the year it takes place. And it's about a teacher and some students who have to be held over through Christmas break to basically because their parents, for whatever reasons, can't have them over for the holidays, which is Christmas and New Year's Eve. And so Paul Giamatti was told, hey, you got to watch these kids during these 2 weeks. Somebody else was supposed to do it, but he ends up having to do it.
Because it's a private school.
That's right. It's a private school. I forgot about that. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, for reminding me.
It's kind of like they're sent away to a very posh, expensive, we're thinking maybe Ivy League area, perhaps.
Yeah, a lot of these kids are going to go to big time, Harvard, Princeton, big schools like that. It kind of in a way, it didn't make me. I didn't feel like Son of a Woman at all, but there was some elements regarding the students, what type of students they were. And so that being said, the film takes you along through these two weeks, right? And in this film, you get introduced to some other actors who have to be held over as well. But there's this actress, Ruben. She's African American, and let me just get her name right here. It's Divine Joy Randolph. She was fabulous. She plays a mother who's grieving over a son who passed away in Vietnam, and she's also the cook at the school. And she definitely has these great, just a comedic, but also heartwarming conversations with not only the boy, but with Giamatti's character, the teacher. And so but another actor I have to mention, Ruben, is Dominic Sessa. This is his first film. He's a young man who's really the one who has is I don't want to say the star of the film, but is the young man that they focus on. And this is his first film, like I said, and he actually comes from one of these schools. I looked him up and I go, wow, this is he knows his background. And so he was very believable, and I'd love to hear what you think about him, Ruben. But this film, I just left it feeling so good. I looked at my son, I go, I feel good about this film. It was heartwarming. It does feel like this time of year, like November, December, Christmas type of film in a way. Well, it's set in that period, this time period, right? Christmas time. But it was just, I just loved it. I enjoyed it. And I just want to know, how do you feel about it, Rube?
Well, we forgot to talk about not doing. What do you feel about it, Rube? We'll cut this part.
Sorry.
It's okay. To me, I would say that this is the best time I had in a movie theater in years. I don't usually enjoy films like this often. And I do want to mention Divine Joy as a Randolph a little bit later too, because there's something very unique about that character that she played. But let's talk about this film in terms of that idea of the holdover. You have these students, poor kids, who have to stay. Some of them don't even live in the area in the Northeast. They live in Utah or other parts of the country. Not a lot of holdovers, but some have to stay with this teacher. And there is a sense in this film of the claustrophobia of that being stuck somewhere and the cold winter. It's not just the sets and the direction, which are a level, but also the performances by Paul Giamatti and that newcomer, Dominic Sessa. It's in their performances in that drudgery, especially Dominic Sessa, who held his own with Paul Giamatti. I felt when I was watching it that he was already close or at the caliber of Giamatti. They were peers. It wasn't one actor carrying the other. So that was pretty powerful to see in this kid who, interestingly, yes, that, as you mentioned, came from a typical a similar type of school. So I just wanted to say a few things because this is a teaching channel, so we want to talk about the teaching. Besides the fact that it is a good story and movie, but this Dominic Sessa character, his name in the movie is Angus. Excuse me. He's one of these behavioral students that we encounter sometimes. What do you do with a behavioral problem student? Well, and by the way, lies, steals, wanders off in field trips and otherwise. What do you do? Talk to them. Paul Giamatti showed some growth in this film. His character was an unlikable teacher, and kudos to him for playing unlikable guys. The guy I think about when I think of someone like a Giamatti is a John Cazale, who was in The Godfather, who played Fredo. He played unlikable guys in everything I saw him in. And it's not easy because people associate you with unlikableness, if that's such a word, or of just unsavory type of people. But that's not who you are. You're performing that. Paul Giamatti is willing to get down and dirty. And he was, I wouldn't say a nasty guy, but unlikable for sure. And what does Giamatti do? Finally, he listens to him. He really, Dominic Sessa is, our students don't ask for too much, if you think about it. He just wanted to get out, stuck in those walls. He just wanted to go to a Christmas party. Minor things. You know what? Feed him something different. I'm going to give a piece of advice I don't think I've ever given on this channel. If you really have a problem child in your class, or more than one, you might solve it with this. And I was reminded watching this movie. Go on a field trip and feed that kid. Feed him what he wants. Pizza, whatever. Burgers, give him what he wants. Or give her what she wants. You might win them over. They don't forget things like that. And so it's just a little tool. When all else fails, you bring that one out. Oh, but we don't do field trips. Do a field trip. I don't do them either, but maybe once a year I'll go. So I really like that. I don't want to talk too much. I do want to say too that back to Divine Joy Randolph. I thought that character, she's African American. She's the cook at the school. She could have easily been created as a cliche. A lot of times you have these white characters next to a black character, and the black character is all-knowing and the wise sage. It's very overdone. And no, she is as flawed as these other two characters. She has as many issues. I don't want to give away more and more of what her issue is because it gets revealed at the Christmas party they go to. I really like that. So she needs them as much as they need her, because she provides not only the food, but also some counsel. She kind of breaks them up at times and gives some advice much needed to the Giamatti character. Last thing, I was expecting at the end to get the big speech, and we didn't get it, and I love it. The whole Scent of a Woman speech where the main character puts the admin in their place. We saw it with Honors, Joe Pesci. We've seen it 1,000 times. They didn't give it because they didn't need to. Alexander Payne is too smart for that. And the movie holds up fine.
I love what you shared, Ruben, regarding this actress. She was just great. As I'm watching it, Ruben, what did you think of the music, though, the soundtrack? You got a little bit of Cat Stevens. Some of the songs I didn't recognize, but I felt like they were 70-ish, or at least they got artists that sounded like people that came out that time. But for sure, Cat Stevens was in the film. Alexander
Payne is an artist because he doesn't overdo it. So this is one of the big complaints I have in some of the movies we've seen, is that lesser directors will just give you music videos because they're not very good. They're not telling the story well. So they have to manipulate you. He put in that Cat Stevens song right where it needed to be. He did not overdo it.
Only played it once, right?
He did it very tastefully, and it just needed that right then. One of the best movies we've reviewed, in my opinion, on this podcast. Fantastic movie I could see again.
Oh yeah,
sure.
I took my boys, and right away my son Ryan said, I don't know, Dad. I felt like these guys were like, both of them were, even the woman goes, all three of them were like Oscar worthy performances. I go, I just don't feel like no one's made a big deal about these three, but they were just great. And I feel good. I loved it. I'm going to see it again. I'm going to take my wife this weekend. But yeah, that being said, hey, thank you for being here with us on Pod and Deliver. And Ruben's correct. I don't think we've seen a better movie as we've been on here these last 3-4 years. And thank you for being here as we review another film. We'll see you soon on Pod and Deliver. Have a good night. Bye-bye.